All right, we are live. Just give me a couple minutes here. Get a couple things set up. Give a couple people time to get in. All right. We are live. Just do a couple quick edits. And then we'll send the link over to Taja and this one in a second once I get these edits done. And then we should be good to go. Hold on. All right, just do these quick edits. All right. All right. All right, we should be good to go. All right. All right, we are good with the edits. Let me get the link over to Taja and, and brother this one. Hold on. What the fuck? I didn't do what I wanted it to do. Gmail, there we go. His Gmail. All right. It should be getting in soon. Just letting All right. So I sent the link. Well, we're ready to go. I want to welcome everybody to the fourth. Though we did some previous shows, we started pretty much all over again from scratch. I want to welcome everybody to the Hip Hop Occult Show. Something we're trying to do once a month here on the Primordial Chaos YouTube page. And again, what we do here, as I'm waiting for my guests, I'm just going to run through some quick announcements. I'll get into that real quick. Again, just to remind everybody, the 7th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. You can sign up for that now. You can either attend that virtually or live in person. Shoot me an email. That's going to take place October 31st to November 3rd right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a 4-day event, meet and greet. We're going to open our event with a ritual at the graveside on Halloween night, followed by a brief meet and greet afterwards. Classes and workshops on Friday and Saturday, followed by group rituals later in the evening. And then on Sunday, I will be finishing off the event with a question and answer class from noon to 4 p.m. So you can sign up for that to come live and in person or virtually. Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. If you're forgetting anything I'm saying, it's right there in the ticker going across the banner at the bottom of the screen. Also, it's in the description box, everything I'm saying in the videos. If you're interested in booking a spiritual reading or a consultation, shoot me an email. I offer various different types of readings and consultations. So just shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to check out the social media pages on Instagram, Chaos9, which we are live right now. Also on Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words, and then right here, obviously on YouTube, Primordial Chaos, the YouTube page. Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast. It's available on Spotify or major podcast platforms. And also, if you want to sign up for classes, go to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to check out if you want to take the classes. Tier 3 gives you access to all the classes that we do every month, 3 a month. Not only does it just give you access to the day you join moving forward, you get access to almost 5 years back in the archive, right? So that's the way you can kind of get in on what we're doing here at Primordial Chaos, all right? Again, if you've got anything I told you, it's right there at the bottom of the screen going across the ticker, and it's also in the description box of the video of all the YouTube videos, and also on the social media platforms, also on TikTok, Primordial Chaos 3 on TikTok, all right? So any of that information, anything outside of that, shoot me an email. All right, what's going on, fellas? Let's bring in, welcome back, Dis One, and
all right.
What's going on, bro?
Peace, my brother, peace.
Everything's good. I'm gonna bring in our host, Taja. What's going on, Taja?
What's good? What's good?
It's good. It's good. It's good, man. So, yeah, man. So, we know what the topic is tonight. I think we should get into the album reviews first.
Right.
I think the LL album, you were reading my mind on that one, man. I also want to review that briefly, that Rock Nest Monster joint. Not a coincidence. That came out about 21 days ago. So I sent you the link. Did you get a chance to listen to it?
I know I haven't.
I can't hear you. Taja, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was saying, did you get a chance to listen to that Rock Nest Monster and Russ Juck's album?
No, I did not.
I meant to tell you to send it to Dis One. Dis One, have you heard the album?
No, unfortunately, no. But now I got it. I got to jump on that.
Okay.
Pronto.
All right.
Yeah, I forgot all about, man. If I
no worries.
I'd have listened to it today.
I'm not going to really review the whole thing then. I'm just going to give just real, like a minute or so, just brief thoughts on it. I'd like to review it with you guys. It actually came out on August 22nd. So like about 3-4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's crazy because I meant to mention that when we kind of decided a little bit prior to that to do the show, that album came out. It was crazy. Okay. Now, in my opinion I'm just going to leave it at this. Love the production on it. I'm just going to give a brief summarization, but I want you guys to go through the tracks, and we'll do a full breakdown on another show.
No doubt.
Love the production on it. Not a huge Russ Jucks fan. I think sometimes he forces his flow with the hyped up stuff. It just can get a little annoying. Now I like Rock Nest Monster's voice. I like the flow. So to me, he's the strength of the album. The album's called Crownsville, and there's a tribute on there to Sean P.
Okay.
And there's a really a dope ass song on there for Sean P. So anyway, we'll review that later. Let's talk about the LL album. Who want to go first? I know that's
I love it. I love it. I probably listened to it probably about 20 times already.
Yeah. What about you, Taja?
Hello,
Taja, you there?
Trying to get this mic straight, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I'll go.
Yeah,
and then you just let me know when you're situated. Yeah. It's definitely not a traditional LL album.
No,
it's not. At first, here's the weird thing about it. At first, I didn't know how I felt about it when I listened to it the first time. It was weird. I had to listen to it a few times because L's doing some things on there that I'm not accustomed to L doing.
Is it okay?
And what L did, though, which is this is how you know true legends and veterans of the game, which separates guys like LL, Nas, dudes that are timeless. He definitely flipped the script and took it up to a more modern day approach.
Mm-hmm.
I think he totally kind of abandoned his traditional style to a degree, but I had to listen to it. I know Q-Tip and the production, it's not the normal. What it was that I started to realize as I kept listening to it, it's not the normal LL production beat.
Yeah, you had to go into it. See, I didn't go into it on a LL album produced by Q-Tip. I went into it on a Q-Tip production album that he did for LL. You know what I mean? If you look at it that way, then you know what you're getting into versus the Marley Marl production and the really hyped up tracks or the majority of them. I mean, because he still did the Saweetie song, which was which was still back to his Lady Loves Cool J. You know what I mean? But he spread everything across the board. I think to me one of the most amazing, well, two of them. But see, I heard these songs one by one through the past few months, so I knew what I was sort of getting into. You know what I mean? Like the one with M.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which showed L stood right up there. You know what I mean? L definitely shined right along with M, even watching the video for it. You know what I mean? Like, and the Nas track.
Right.
Which was something really different for him to be hitting something from to breaking down the Supreme Alphabet, but still in the same sense.
There was a lot of God body stuff in there. But go ahead.
A lot of God body stuff was in there, and I was like, I'm looking around like I bet people have no clue.
Nah, wow, no. not if you were never a 5% or NGE or
right
conscious. But you just said something I think pieced it all together for me, and that's what I meant when I said, like, I heard a couple of songs before the whole album was released, but I had to just train my mind. You hit it on the head. This is not a Marley production.
Nope.
This is not a traditional L album. He did some abstract off-beat stuff there that was on beat. If that makes sense. But I think again what he did was amazing. Being this, I mean, look, L's been around since 83, 84.
Yeah.
For and this is, look, again, I don't want to sound like the old grumpy head, but this is what separates legends. Again, you got old school artists, and it's like there's a revival in hip hop. I know we talked about, I want to get into that old school, new school thing again, but it's good to see. It's like there's a revival. Everything's coming full circle. Now, I don't know if I'm starting to notice like Method Man, L. I know they do a lot of movies and TV, but if it's just me, but I'm noticing artists like them seem like they're coming back hard back into the music.
And I think the reason by that too is because with switching over to television, you don't want to get typecast as as the actor now that's trying to be a rapper again. You know what I mean? Here's got to remember that's the MC that's acting.
There you go.
And L even said
that's a great point. Just one, and maybe they and I think some of it's wanting to stay true to their roots. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, they don't want to be labeled and categorized Like, all right, let's be real. Like, I think you take an MC like Will Smith. He made the full transition. I don't think he can. He's basically an actor. I don't think he could. Yeah, he could come out with an album. I'm sure it'll get some buzz, but I don't think it would be received like a L or a Method Man because
Yeah. That's a total different thing. Yeah, that's a total. The whole Will Smith persona is a totally different thing because what you sacrifice to bring it, to for the acting world. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't even and here you go. Me and Ty's are Philly people. But Will is an entity of his whole family is an entity of his own. That's a whole different avatar right there.
But one thing I'll say about Will Smith, he never from day one claimed, like, he never said he was from the streets or he really grew. I mean, he said he grew up in a middle class neighborhood. You know, not that he was rich, but he wasn't poor. You know, I mean, he stayed true to his roots. He was the party MC. I'll give him that. I know shit has gotten a little weird though in the Hollywood game with him, but I will give him that. He never came out the gate trying to be hardcore gangster. None of that shit. I mean, I was after the first two for DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. Never was a huge fan after that. Never really cared for any of the soul joints. I just thought it was too poppy and commercial. But anyway, I'll say this and I'll bring Taj in. Overall, I thought the album it was different, and the more I listened to it, I liked it more. I think I was a little bit I was surprised listening to it the first time because I think I was already in my mind. I was trying to hear classic L. That's what I thought I was going to hear, and then I said to myself, "All right, this isn't it." So the production was totally different. It was awesome.
Yep.
The way the production on that album was put together, I give Q-Tip a lot of credit.
Oh yeah,
for the production he did on there, and I'm glad to see. I'm from Queens, so I'm glad to see some of the Queens fellas getting together.
Yeah,
keeping it in Queens like that.
Yes, he did.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, but I would tell people the only thing last numbering you and Taj. Only thing I would say is if you are, and I've always been an LL fan from day one, because obviously I grew up in the same neighborhood right over there. He was in St. Albans. I was over there. I was off of Farmers.
Okay.
167, so minutes apart. Ran into him a few times. There was a bodega right there on the corner of 167th and Merrick Boulevard. If you go in there, you'll see pictures of L. He used to frequent it all the time. But I will say this, if you're a hardcore LL fan, don't go into the album like I did the first time. I didn't like when I listened to it the first time, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was good. I was a little bit, I had to take it in is the best way I could describe it.
Okay.
So all I would tell you, real hardcore LL Cool J fans, just go into it. He took it to some next level shit. But I think the more you absorb it, you'll enjoy it. Taj, what's your thoughts on it?
All right, y'all can hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So since you guys touched on this before,
can you just speak a little louder, Taj? You sound a little low.
How about now?
A little bit better. Yep.
A little better. I'm trying. All right. How about this? I'm just trying not to have the mic in my mouth. Pause.
No, did it.
How's it sound now? How's it sound now?
No, you good. You good right there.
All right. So just to rewind back to Will Smith. I met him in my hood, walking around probably a year before he got signed, and we was outside freestyling. He came up, he kicked this freestyle. It was funny because it was about girls. It wasn't girls are rolling down trouble. I think it was called I Can't Stand Women Sometimes. So it was a more edgy type of thing, but it still was like, it was that kind of stuff that he does. You know what I mean? But you could tell he has skills as an MC. So but yeah, but he never tried to be hardcore gangster, nothing like that. So with that said, y'all were talking about L and the acting thing. He had recently did a video, an interview where he was saying that he was like, I'm an MC. He was like, he said, all these industry dudes artists, he's like, they talk as though, yeah, well, I wanna, I wanna be I wanna be an owner, I wanna be a CEO, I wanna do this, I wanna do that. He was like, as if, being an artist is not important enough. He was like, the CEOs, the managers, they want to hang out with the artists. He was like, Picasso was an artist. He was like, Stevie Wonder's an artist.
Yeah.
He's like, Michael Jackson's an artist. Prince was an artist. He's like, I'm an artist. He's like, do I have investments and things like that? He's like, yeah, I got investments. I got things that I could, whatever, show you. I got this to bounce that in the third or whatever. He's like, but I don't pop my collar off that. He was like, I'm an artist. He's like, and I love being an artist. He's like, I'm an artist first. And I feel that, what I'm saying? It's like they act like there's no, he said people act like there's like the artist is down here and the execs are up here somewhere. He's like, no, the artists are the ones that make people love this. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was a good point to add to what you guys were saying about, him being a rapper first or whatever. And he says he don't care about his SAG and the TV shows and none of that stuff. His main concern is being an artist. With that said, I approached the album like another LL album, right? And I liked radio. I liked the song Radio. I Need a Beat, all that stuff. But I wasn't a huge L fan. I just, at the time, being young, being an MC, I ain't like his cockiness, you know what I'm saying? But later on, I don't remember the album. It kind of had like a what do you call that? Beat a doo-wop kind of sample in it.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I forget what album was that.
I'm not sure. It's not the Panther one.
It was
But
like
I know the song
after the Panther one.
Yeah, I know the song you're talking about though.
To me, that album was
Versatility.
You talking about the one after Walking with the Panther?
Yeah, the one afterward.
Yeah, that's what pink cookies in a plastic
bag.
That's 14 shots to the
favorite
dome. 14 shots to the dome.
Okay.
14 shots to the dome. That's what it was. That was my
14
favorite.
shots to the dome. That's one of my favorite L albums.
That was my favorite L album, or is my favorite L album.
See, I didn't like L's early 2000 joints. I wasn't a fan. That's when he kind of, I didn't really vibe to his. Remember he put out some albums in the early 2000s. I didn't really care for those. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Nah, I feel you on that. But you know what I do is where, okay, here you go. Dougie Fresh says he's the world's greatest entertainer. Guess what? You label that for yourself. I'm gonna give you that respect. Said I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the GOAT. Guess what? You label yourself that. I'm gonna give you that respect because you stand on your word. And I think that's where people like us, where we are with that. You know what I mean? Because it's not we got our list of categories where we set our top 5. We probably wouldn't even mention L. But guess 100%. What? But L said, I'm the greatest of all time. I'm gonna give you that because you said you the GOAT. That's what you want to live by. You're gonna be the GOAT.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But like now you take the track 4, 3, 2, 1. Like that's a different L. Like that. See, that's the L.
That's the best. That's the best of L right there. That's
see. But now we talked about this on an older show. Now speaking of Dougie, it brought up Fat Man Scoop. I forgot. We got
exactly.
Fat Man Scoop. We obviously lost him from the last show to this show. He was probably one of the. He was an entertainer. He was a hype man. And obviously he was Dougie Fresh's protege. He always mentioned Dougie being his mentor, his tutor. So just want to acknowledge the passing of Fat Man Scoop. So rest in power to Fat Man Scoop. Condolences to his family.
Yes.
I'm sure he's going to be missed by a lot of people, man. So with L, we did a show, me and Taja, a while back. So the hate is real with L, and I'm gonna tell you this from back in the day around the way. Some know and some don't. He was highly influenced by T. La Rock, the whole Kango style and all that. Battles in the Park. That's where he kind of, I don't want to say mimicked his style, but he was influenced by it. And there was always a lot going on behind the scenes. Then we know the battles later with Kool Moe Dee, which I always thought I'm sorry, no disrespect. I never was a Cool Mo D fan. You know, it just seemed like, see, the problem with Cool Mo D, I think he was stuck at the moment where hip hop was transitioning from that flow.
Yeah.
And he got stuck, and
he got stuck in it. Yeah.
Well, what was going on with L around when he first came out with radio in '85? Remember, he was very young, man. He was a teenager,
right?
So there was a lot of hate, man. I mean, what people don't know off the record, L was jumped several times.
He was jumped in Philly. He was jumped in Philly.
Jumped in Philly too. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. It's what Taj just said. He was super swaggerlicious, so it rubbed people the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was L. That he decided to be that out the gate ladies man, swag. You know, just a cool cat, and that's basically what brought upon the hate. So, I'm just gonna say it was rough for him. Them first 2 albums until he matured a little bit. There was a lot of that shit going on constantly. Like it was hard for him to go to point A to point B because he had a target on his back.
He was real cocky.
He was cocky and he was young. And, you know, people don't realize in the first 2 albums, he was still living in his grandmother's basement when the first 2 albums was out. You know, he stayed around the way. And now again, we're talking about a time where, you know, dudes wasn't getting the advancements and the money they're getting now. But
exactly.
But I feel you, Taj, on that. His cockiness kind of rubbed people the wrong way. But I think you hit it on the head. This one, he's not going to be in your top 5, but he's always going to be legendary in the sense of what he's contributed to the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think his style doesn't transition to top 5 because his style is so unique, and I don't say that in a bad way. I just think he's got his own style. Like he can show that next level lyricism, like on 432 on a few other tracks. I think 14 Shots to the Dome. And Taj, tell me if you agree or disagree. I think now keep in mind that's the boom bap era, but I think he was trying to like go to be more of a lyricist, but I think they pulled him back because if he went that route, it was pulling away from being that, you know, the ladies man.
What his market is. Mm-hmm.
I don't know your thoughts on that, but that's what I took at the time. You know,
that probably is what happened, and that's probably why that was my favorite album. But what I will say is that this album, I approached it as though it was just an LL album, and I didn't know what to expect because, you know, obviously he's older. But I think the continuity of this album matches the continuity of that album. Even though,
you know, that's a good point. I never even looked at it like that. That's a good point.
Even though he's doing different things we never heard him do, I think the continuity is the same as that album. You know what I mean? And one of my favorite joints on is 30 Decembers. Like I like how he's telling the story. He took it back, and again, his style is he's not like a metaphoric lyrical MC, but it's the way he rides the beat and his delivery that is his trademark. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's classic LL in that album.
Well, I mean, also to your point, he's legendary status.
That's the legend in him. Exactly.
Yeah. He can do whatever he wants now.
Yep.
Like now, he ain't gotta be restrictive with his creativity because
exactly
we're way past that stage.
Exactly. That's when you see the best. That's why I always said when it came to Jay, one of my favorite things was 444. Why? Because you're no longer restricted to certain things. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. And that's what he did. You know what I mean? Jay did that with the 444 album the same way L just did. You know what I mean? It's like you really have nothing to prove at certain points, but probably unless you feel as though you got to prove something to, you know, to the individual out there. But and I think that's where this was when you get people like that together with him and Tip. You know what I mean? Like you said, when you get them Queens people to, you know what I mean, to get together like that, because it's sadly enough, we probably should put Q-Tip on one of them lists when it comes to the greatest producers.
Oh, damn right.
And he's not talking about it.
And he's not talking
at all.
About, you know what I mean?
Not at
you
all.
know, look what he did for Nas, you know, and everything else. But I think that was a perfectly good collaboration right there. It just worked so well with both of them together.
100%, man. I couldn't have said it any better, man. Anything else anybody want to add to the L album? I mean, I think we summed it up. I mean, like I said, definitely check it out.
And I'll say this real quick. As much as I didn't like him, those first 2 albums, I actually, I had a cousin. Well, I have a cousin, but he's not there anymore. But he lived on Murdoch Ave up there, and not far from Farmers Boulevard. So when I went up there to see him, I went to Farmers Boulevard. I went to that bodega. I seen the pictures. I called my boy, like, "Yo, guess where I'm at?" You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, that's a piece of history right there.
I love that Walking with the Panther album too. That was like, I mean, that one at that time in New York, he captured. See, and again, the beauty of that time, and again, recently for whatever reason, I was compelled. I was listening to a lot of Heavy D lately. He just popped in my head a few days ago, and it's just I know Heavy D is more of that party, but Heavy D, you know, you had L. I mean, at that time there was just so many fucking artists out that was so unique. Is the best way I could put it, man. It's like we had a bowl of fruit to pick from.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Different kind of cereals to choose from.
We did. Yeah,
that's what made it beautiful, though.
Cocoa Pebbles.
Yeah, exactly. A fruity. What do you want? Right, crispy. What do you want? You got it.
That's what made it beautiful back then.
Crazy. It just, and then I was listening to, you know, and obviously we lost Heavy D way too early. You know, Heavy D again. He was infusing. Now remember, Heavy D also in the late 80s going into the early 90s, he kind of capitalized a little bit off that hip house thing. He was good at but I think I like the way he did hip house better than a lot of artists were trying to do it. I don't know if you guys remember a group at that time. There was another group that hit it pretty good. That said, you guys remember Twin Hype?
Yeah.
Twin
Hype. Twin Hype.
I mean, they were flash in the pan. But they captured it good, and believe it or not, another album that captured the hip house movement good that nobody talks about, Craig G, his second album. If you remember Craig G's second album,
wow,
he put out 2 albums. His second album, he focused majority of the tracks. And I never was really big into hip house. You know, you see cats coming to the club with the Batman t-shirts. I was just never into
the shoes.
Yeah. Just never into that shit, bro. But Craig G, it's his second album is Slept On. Craig, you know, for those that don't know Craig G,
wow.
Check out his second album. That was another hip house. He had several hip house joints on there that I was feeling, and not being a big hip house fan, but you know, Heavy D. Man, he captured it so well. One thing Heavy D did in his production that a lot of artists couldn't do, he incorporated synthesizers where it didn't sound bad.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, remember too. Remember a lot of that had Teddy Riley involved.
Teddy Riley, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, and it would now. Would we consider at some point? Would we consider Heavy part of the New Jack movement, or am I wrong in saying that?
No, I think it was. If we had,
I agree.
If you got to really look at the fact of his production style at that point, if it was Teddy involved, then it had to be, because that's who created that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was built around him. You know?
Because if you look at Heavy's first album, Mr. Big Stuff, a lot of like soul samples, James Brown. And then I noticed, like, when you get to his album he put out in 89, going into 90, he was right in alignment, like you say, with the Teddy Riley, New Jack movement. Just some quick comments here. Wasted Talent says the title for Jay's album was The Date of the Eclipse. I thought that was dope. Johnny Will says, nice hip hop live show. I'll catch you guys a little later. Beetlejuice time. And yes, LL New Stuff is wild. Peace. I appreciate that, Johnny. But yeah, anything else anybody want to add to that before we go into our main topic? But just shit sometimes comes as we're talking.
Yeah.
But Heavy D just popped into my head a few days ago. So I was cranking his joints for a few days straight. It's just crazy how I can go back and listen to this shit for a million times and catch more shit. Go ahead, Taja. I'm sorry. Were you saying something?
Yeah, I said Blue Funk. That was my favorite joint.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's a shame that with Pete being his cousin that they never did a full album together.
You know what? It amazes me, man. Being from uptown Yonkers, being from that whole clique and crew. You're right. I never, and obviously the tragic death of T-Roy. That was at the time when that happened, and I don't think Hev ever fully recovered from that.
No.
I mean, his album, what was the one? Deep Blue Funk?
Mm-hmm.
He was in a serious state of depression. That album's a little dark and dreary when you listen to it closely. Because that album, that was the one he came out with right after T-Roy, shortly after T-Roy.
Right.
That was the one after that came out. I'm not sure exactly how long after that incident took place with T-Roy, but yeah, he was a Peaceful Journey. I'm sorry. That was
Peaceful Journey. That was it. Yeah. Got it.
But again, Heavy was unique.
My favorite song off the album was Blue Funk. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
On that joint he did with Aaron Hall's classic. He redid Third World's Now That We Found Love. That's I just think that shit. You want just a feel good song just to chill to while you're riding. Now I like Third World. I mean, I like the original.
Of course.
He captured the sample, but the way they laid the drums over that track, and then
that's
Aaron
production.
Singing the hook, it worked, man.
And again, that was that New Jack flavor.
Yep. Yeah, that's a well produced project right there.
Yeah, shit worked. All right, so let's get into the main topic of our show. So we got together and we decided we wanted to talk about the legacy of the OGC, the original Gun Clappers crew. A lot of artists were, emerged from that clique. As usually happens from cliques. Obviously, the pioneers was the first album that I thought was super influential in 1993, especially in New York, especially where the boom bap movement was really now at the time starting to come into play. But Black Moon's Enter the Stage. That's a classic, all-time classic.
Without a doubt.
So let's talk about, they were the first ones pretty much to get put on from that clique. So let's talk a little bit about Buckshot. Let's talk a little bit about that album. And then we'll get into, as we evolve later, a little more with Sean P. and Helter, Skelter, Smith and Wesson, which was crazy. You remember they had to change the name because they were getting sued.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know why did they abandon the Smith and Wesson. Was it the Helter Skelter name or the Smith and Wesson name?
I think it was the Smith and Wesson name.
Smith and Wesson.
I think it was the Smith and Wesson, the actual gun company wanted to sue them. The name it was trademarked. Yeah, I think it was Smith and Wesson. So then they switched the name to Helter Skelter. But your thoughts on the Enter the Stage? There's so many tracks on there, man. My God. The beats on there are just classic.
Yeah.
I think it just captured the See, I think at that time, hip-hop was transitioning hardcore into that boom bap movement. You had groups like Artifacts. To me, that's another group that slept on. Nobody really talks about.
Right.
Was it the Jungle Babies? Damn, there's another group that came out right behind them. Can't think of their name right now.
What, around the time the Jungle? Not Jungle. Wait a minute, Jungle Babies.
Bush Babies.
Oh, the Bush Babies. Yeah. I only heard like one song from them though. I don't recall them.
Yeah, they had a whole album out. They didn't really never really took off. Now Artifacts had a couple albums out. They were out of Jersey. They slept. People slept on them. I thought, this was the movement. This is what was going on at the time. You had groups like that now emerging on the scene.
The 90s, early 90s, yep.
Yeah, man. Royal Flush, which, all these different groups that was coming out early to mid 90s. But let's talk about that Enter the Stage album, man. I mean, what can you say? That album I know was probably the album of the year in '93 in New York.
Exactly. I mean, you can't, like you said, that's one of them albums where you could throw it on and you can ride right through that whole album from beginning to end. You know what I mean? From beginning to end. So
I think just the new the different sound that they came with, it was like hypnotizing. Like you couldn't stop listening to it.
You know what
I mean? Especially with Buckshot's voice. You know what I'm saying? It was like magical almost, you know.
Wasn't that recorded in D&D? Matter of fact,
I believe it was D&D Studios.
Yeah. So even that sound out of that studio.
Oh, facts.
You know what I mean? That particular sound that you know what I mean that was pushed from there. You know, that was a movement.
And I think what was so good about their production, Buckshot's flow. Like I always said, there's rappers. It seems like sometimes, whether it's intentional or not, it seems like the production is customized for their flow. Now, sometimes I don't know if that's by design or it just happens to work out, and I think it's probably a combination of both. But it always seemed like the beats for Buckshot were like perfectly in alignment with the way he flowed. And, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's an MC. That's
Yeah,
a true MC.
True MC,
You know what I mean?
bro.
But the and the other one was what was the other boy? The 5 because it wasn't just Buckshot, right?
No, it was Buck.
No.
It was
It was a couple.
Evil
Man,
D
you know
was
what?
the D.
We're so familiar with Buckshot is bad because I can't. Wait, well, you had. Hold on. I don't want to mess the name.
Forget his name. Shit.
No, I'm gonna pull it up because I don't want to mess up the names. It's just though Buck did a lot of the lyrics, a lot of them. We're so familiar with him and him only, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was like when the Tribe Called Quest came out. Majority everything was Q-Tip lyrically.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, because I used to wonder what does
Jabari? Yeah,
what does Jerobe do if he really
yeah,
did?
Jerobe
5 feet and DJ Evil
5 feet. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, 5 FT. Yeah,
that's
he's
it.
not
5
talked
FT.
about.
Evil D and Buckshot. Yeah. But he actually, I know he came back and it was a song I heard recently, that he was on it with Buck.
Okay.
So I know the most recent shit that Buckshot had the most recent Buckshot project anyway. 5 FT is on it.
Okay, I know Buck had. Yeah, I did listen to over the last several years. He has put out a couple of solo joints. But 5 feet is not really talked. I got to check that out. I haven't heard it. I'd be interested to hear that. I got to go look for that. But him too. I don't think we talk about him enough because obviously, first thing you think of when you think of Black Moon is obviously Buckshot Shorty. Let's just be honest. It's the first thing that
right?
pops in your mind.
Exactly.
But,
naughty by nature. You only think of Tretch.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's crazy. It's crazy you bring that up. I never thought Vinny was a good rapper.
Right. I always thought Vinny was hype man.
Bro, I'm not saying he was terrible, but I have a couple of good friends in Jersey. We used to argue this. I love a lot of Jersey rappers. I love that whole clique. You know, at that time, Queen Latifah, Apache, you know, Naughty by Nature, all that whole Jersey clique that came out at the time.
Oh yeah.
But I think I don't know, man. Vinny just,
yeah, Vinny, yeah. Vinny. Wait a minute, not to really derive from too much of where we are on the subject, but Cypress Hill. You always think of Be Real.
Yeah.
You think of Be Real.
True.
Yeah, because Sin Dog don't really get. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. Wasn't a huge Cypress Hill fan. They were the type of that was the type of group or their albums. I'd have to be in the mood. You know, there's some artists you just gotta be in the mood to listen to them. Where some artists you can just put on. I thought, man. I mean, Cypress Hill had some awesome fucking production though, man. Some of them beats were fucking nasty.
Yeah. You know, Muggs is a motherfucker.
Yeah,
but Sin Dog, let's be not that Sin Dog is terrible.
Right.
You don't got be in that group. I don't know. Man.
Yeah. He was the flavor of the group.
Yeah,
basically.
But yeah, I always never cared for Vinny and Naughty by. I mean, Tretch obviously carried the group. You don't got Tretch in that group. I mean, Tretch probably could have been a solo artist from out the gate.
Exactly.
He really could have been from day one.
Right, but that's the feeling that we get when we because even if you look up, the funny thing is if you Wikipedia BBC, The funny thing is, you gonna get everybody's name, but you ain't gonna get 5FT, really. That's and he was part of the original group.
Yeah.
And he had skills, man. I mean, we got the props, all those tracks on it. People sleep on the bars that he contributed to those tracks, man.
Yeah, because like you said, they had. You know what? I really think, if you ask me personally, because not only them as a group, but as far as even with the management and the whole story behind them all together, I think it might have been one of them situations like everything else where it was a shitload of songs recorded and they grabbed the best of the best to put out their first album, because it was like almost everything is a banger. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like we all know, you know what I mean? Every song you record ain't gonna be no banger.
No.
You know what
Now,
I mean?
if I'm not mistaken, didn't DJ Evil D do most of the production?
Yes,
on
did.
joint?
Yeah, him.
That's what I thought.
Yep. Yeah.
He wasn't just a DJ, he was a producer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're DJ and their producer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, Taja, you hit it on the head too. Black Moon style didn't sound like anybody else. Their flow didn't sound like anybody else. Now, if you from Brooklyn, that's like some, that's Brooklyn hip hop, right? And I know when they were out at the time, you have, artists that came shortly after that. I mean, Biggie was just emerging with Party and Bullshit. I forgot what that was on Who's the Man soundtrack.
Yeah,
right. Because his album came out like a year later, but that single was really being played to death. Party and Bullshit. And obviously, I know he came out with some remixes to that after the fact. Was that on the first Biggie album or no? Party and Bullshit.
No, it wasn't. Nope.
He didn't put it on there. No,
nope.
It was just on Who's the Man soundtrack.
It was just on Who's the Man. Yup.
Yeah, that's a classic, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So there was a big Brooklyn movement going on of artists at that time in the early to mid '90s in New York, but probably Black Moon. I don't think anybody bigger. At that time.
Not at that time.
Now, having said that, Enter the Stage, critically acclaimed, blew up. What do you fellas think? Because they never really took it to the next notch after that. Not that they faded, they kind of stayed on the scene. But do you think did their style not transition as the music was changing? I don't see that, because I listen to some of Buckshot's new stuff. I know it's more underground. He'll never get the publicity and the acclaim now because he's staying true to those Brooklyn roots. But what do you think happened to them from '93 going into the late '90s?
I mean, personally, if you ask me, it's like you said. I think they're not a group of MCs that were made to change with the times. You know what I mean? So. Whatever their lifestyle was and whatever they were doing, they were probably living their life and became MCs. Like totally different from the whole Wu thing, maybe, where you got the RZA that grabbed the best of whatever, you know what I mean, and created the legends that we see. I think it was you might have had a bunch of you might have had what Jesus had. You might have had a bunch of thieves and criminals. There was some internal shit. I was talking to Ty before that, and I told him, I remember going to the South Bronx, and we was hanging out in the Bronx at 2 a.m. And I said, I said to my wife's cousin back then, oh shit, I forget who it was, but it was somebody from Boot Camp. And I was like, ain't that so-and-so? He said, yo, keep your ass over here. If you see that boy at 2 o'clock in the morning, he out here robbing motherfuckers. He was like, he ain't out there signing autographs.
No, 100%.
You know what I mean? So I say that to say, you got skillful people who all knew each other that came together to do what they did. And I don't think the art of music was for everybody else. Maybe for like people like Sean P and them, it wasn't their first love. It wasn't what they had to give. All of them had that gift of being a good beat, and they came together and did it. They didn't transition with the times because that, as you see right now, it's not like they progressed and stayed consistent with what was going on. You know what I mean?
No.
They did what they did and gave you what they had.
No, and that's an excellent point. And I also think, obviously, we're still in that era where the money game wasn't flowing like it's flowing now.
It wasn't flowing.
Yeah, and I think that obviously, cats still had to eat and do whatever they had to do.
Yep.
Because really, remember that same year, Enter the Stage comes out. You got right behind it Wu-Tang's first album, right?
There you go. Yep.
36 Chambers comes out in 93, going into 94. And
fuck the whole game up.
Yeah. So now we do know there was some internal strife there, because then there was, you had other, a lot of it was hearsay, can't be confirmed. But unfortunately, I bring up the money thing because the problem back then, when you had groups and crews, if you had two MCs, a DJ, everybody had to get a piece of the pie and eat. And when there wasn't a lot of money flowing like that, like now, obviously it's different now. So I'm sure from what we were hearing back then, Cat still had, like you say, let's just keep it real. He's out there at 2:00 in the morning. He ain't out there signing autographs. You understand?
There you go. I got robbed by my favorite MC.
That's what I meant when I said dudes still got to eat.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I know a lot of personal things transpired. Some of them were still in the street game and, legal issues and things of that nature. But again, like I say, I get it. A man got to do what a man got to do.
Yeah.
Because that money wasn't flowing like that. Right. So then we see later, shortly after that, we see, because obviously they were part of a clique, OGC. Then we see the emergence of Smith and Wesson. I love Smith and Wesson, aka Helter Skelter.
Definitely.
The beats, the flow, and probably to me, why I brought up Rock Ness Monster. He's probably the odd man in that group not talked about enough.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because of the uniqueness of his voice.
Definitely.
But The Shining, let's talk about that. Smith and Wesson, The Shining album, classic. The beats, the production on there. What you guys thoughts of the Shining album?
I mean,
I'll let Taz go first on that.
Again, another classic. Another classic from that camp. I was gonna say that I think what happened with that was just the ending of the backpack music. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, frankly, that's kind of like you said, they didn't want to change with the times. So, but yeah, I mean, Shining, that wasn't that correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that Beat Miners?
Well, Beat Miners,
I'm not sure.
I think it was.
I would have to pull up the album credits. I can't remember.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but yeah,
the production.
Cocoa Brothers. Or the Cocoa Brothers, whatever they went. I mean, that's what they were known as before they actually were on wax. And remember, they had Jamaican roots. One thing they did, I liked how they did it on all their albums. I would like how they would throw the little, Jamaican slang and some of their one-liners and stuff. They were unique at doing that.
Right.
But Beat Miners, I got to look that up. But go ahead.
It had to be, because remember, Beat Miners is Mr. Wall and Evil D.
Yeah, Evil D was a part of it. That's right.
Yeah. So all of the stuff at that time, from day one, was really Beat Miners. You know what I mean? That was their in-house whole thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were just an elite production crew. Like you don't.
Well, I mean, we talk about producers though. That's another one that probably don't get. DJ Evil D probably don't get the props.
Yeah,
supposed to get.
But you know why? I think because when we start to look at producers, we look at not only what's internally within their clique, but externally. And Beat Miners, really everything with Beat Miners was within the whole boot camp clique. It wasn't like you had too much outside of boot camp clique that was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So is RZA produced for everybody. Even Biggie. You know what I mean? So and you start looking at other producers. It's that they ventured out to become. It's for instance, what is to me as good as 40 is for Drake, right? We can't put 40 in that category because as far as we know, he only produced for Drake. You know what I mean? So it's you can't when you locked into something, it don't show what your skill is if you don't venture outside of what or what's normally done. You know what I mean? So I think that's the problem with the whole beat miners thing.
Well, but again, though, to add to what you were saying, Baniti, I think that was what made that click, so that gave them their sound and made them so special because the producers and MCs were honed in on that particular sound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. The Shining is it's a classic in my opinion. The production, those beats, they're just head nodders. I mean, all the beats are head nodders, man. There's not one beat you don't head nod on when you listen to this track. Yeah, I mean, what was Tech and Steel? That's what they went by.
Yeah.
Tech and Steel. So they were the first, and then you had Helter Skelter come right behind them. But we'll get to that in a minute. Sean P and Rock Ness. But I again, when I look at the whole legacy of OGC, I don't know what the full story is because I brought up the Wu-Tang analogy a short while ago because you had a bigger clique at that time that emerged on the scene. And then obviously you can't compare the two. Look what Wu-Tang emerged to. I thought OGC had the potential to be something like that when I look back on it now. And again, there's a lot of hearsay and some of the personal stuff. Can't really confirm it. So I don't really like to talk about speculation. So whatever was going on in-house, I think they were good for the most part, keeping it in-house. I know Buckshot's talked a little bit about it on interviews here and there. But I think they were trending in that direction. But it's almost like, they came to a halt. And then obviously Sean P emerges as a solo in the early 2000s. We'll get to that in a second. But I don't know. I'm left wondering how come they didn't become like a super clique, like a posse that put a bunch of different artists on. I mean, Wu-Tang is that's a once probably in a lifetime thing. You're not gonna see that a lot.
Yep.
But I just think that I thought, OGC would be one of them cliques that would be around, for a minute. But I think the Shining, again, because I know Tech and Steel were of Jamaican descent, if I'm not mistaken. They both have Jamaican roots. I know, obviously East New York, Brooklyn, there's a large Caribbean community, whether you're in Bushwick section, Flatbush it's all Caribbean.
Right.
So I know they were huge in those areas and parts of the boroughs in Brooklyn because of their background and their roots. And it worked because you had other artists trying to do the Jamaican thing. Like, what you guys' thoughts on 9? He comes to mind.
I don't know. I think that was just hip hop to me. You know what I mean? Like, there you go. It's just like when the Skinny Boys came out. You know what I
mean? Nobody knows about the Skinny Boys. They were out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. Yeah, I mean, I think they were doomed from. I actually like the track "Skinny and Proud." I thought,
exactly.
I love "Skinny and Proud," but I think what happened is they kind of defeated themselves out the gate because when you become a one-trick pony, that's pretty much what they were. They were trying to. That was like the whole Roxanne thing back in the 80s.
They were like the whole Roxanne thing, right?
Roxanne,
the real Roxanne. You know what I mean? Roxanne's mother.
I think it's hard to recover from that. When you come out, you know who ruined it? It's crazy we bring it up, but you know who ruined themselves? Got caught up in the diss response game was different back then. It could be career ending. Your career because you didn't have much window and leadway because if you fucked up, you were pretty much done. I don't know if you guys remember in the 80s, there was a female rapper named Antoinette.
Antoinette. Oh yeah, but I got it. She had some jewels.
I got an attitude.
I got an attitude. Yeah, you can see.
But remember, she tried to come at MC Light. That wasn't smart.
Yeah, I know, but you gotta admit these lyrics right here, orally potent, lethal but steady.
No.
Man, your battle state. Yo, she was a beast though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you said,
she was a beast. She was a beast.
Antoinette was.
But the thing that always bothered me about her was the fucking why you grab Rakim's voice.
Exactly.
Well, she had
that's how Light murdered her. You should have got a job as a Rakim sounded like. You know what I'm saying?
She found what worked.
Unlike Rakim, you are a joke and some shit. That's what took the air out of it for me. You know
well, see, that's what I'm saying. Somebody misled her. She was trying to come out hard on the dissing tip. Yeah. And I don't think she had to, because I agree with you, brothers. She had the skills.
She definitely did.
But I don't know. Somebody thought that was going to be the way to market her, and that was career suicide. I think another dude, but he's still around doing his thing, that fell victim to it. He got sucked in, and I actually thought he was better, even being an L fan, was Cannabis.
Yeah,
I thought Cannabis won that battle. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
but you're going up against
the GOAT.
The GOAT popularity. You're not going to win that popularity.
The GOAT popularity. He's 99% of your fan wear high heels. You going up against L, who if your girl want to go see an L show, guess what? You gonna buy a ticket to see L show.
Look, I got to be honest, and I'm an L fan. I got to be honest. Cannabis, I got to get a nod to Cannabis, and that whole Cannabis is nasty. But I think he's another one. Though he's still around, he's been doing stuff, putting shit out. He been staying active on the performance scene and the whole nine. But I think his career was never able to fully rebound.
No, exactly.
He couldn't.
You couldn't be a new artist like on the scene. But I think Cannabis is dope. I like his flow. I like the way he rhymes. But yeah, the diss thing, you had to be careful back in the day. You try to come out dissing somebody. It was different, man. And to do it on records was a big thing back then. Now everybody diss everybody. It's just fucking normal.
Yeah, that's different nowadays, But but also here you go. Another problem I think what Bust was if it came to MC battles and stuff like that, we ride with him 100%. But how many battle MCs can make albums? That's the whole thing was.
That's the point.
I think that's where it fell victim is you can't his concepts, like when he was with one of the Four Horsemen was all right because now you with three other great MCs, you can do what you do. Yeah, you know what I mean? And y'all compliment each other. But as a solo artist, it's like, all right, I don't want to hear 9 diss tracks.
I agree. And I think you're right. That's a good thing to point out. After a while, it does.
It's the same thing. Who else had the same problem? The boy that became a battle rapper in the battles now from Philly. I can't think of his name. Cassidy. He got the same problem as Cassidy.
Yeah. If Cass had just stuck with Swiss.
but see, Cassidy went the other route. See, Cassidy, when he had the success of that one album and blew up, and he was never able to replicate. I know he was always on the underground scene doing the battle rap, but I think he had to go back to that because he didn't maintain.
He didn't maintain it
as a recording artist.
Yeah. But again, you can't.
From what I'm seeing in the whole, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Tommy?
No, I was just saying, it's just you can't bring. There's no way to transition a battle rapper into an actual artist. You know what I'm saying?
And then go back to battle rapping.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what he had to do. That was his fallback. But I'm just saying, like, if you set up to put out an album, but it's not really in you to produce, to to write songs, then you're going to fall off.
But
unless you get ghostwriters.
But as you've seen in the last several years with Cassidy, I don't think he's really updated his battle flow because he's catching body now.
Right.
Man. Yeah, metaphorically, he can't. Yeah, you can't kick that old metaphor style, and you can't match up to what these dudes is doing at homework.
Exactly.
Right.
See,
right.
there's some dudes that that's their battle rappers, and that's all they'll be, and
So,
they got
and they fine with
swords,
That's
that.
all they want to be. Yeah,
they do that
exactly.
shit
Right.
24. Yeah.
Right.
I never was a huge. I don't know if it was his voice that used to bother me after a while listening to it. He kind of had that little high nasally voice. I didn't really care for it. Not saying again, I just wasn't a big fan. I'm gonna be honest with you. I never was huge on Cassidy, whether it was the battle rap scene or whether it was as a recording artist. He was all right. I mean,
Yeah, he was good for the times.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as far as what you were saying, Baniti, about Wu-Tang and boot camp, that was something me and Dis were talking about. I think boot camp lined up with them structurally as the fact that they're set up, but they could. I think the talent wasn't. They were versatile within their group, but they were not. They were not broad enough, and they didn't have the characters that Wu-Tang had to really skyrocket them.
Right. If Wu-Tang was not you guys, the boot camp clique could win.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, yeah, that's a good point. But you know who also comes to mind at the time of Cassidy is crazy, and I mean, you guys probably know more because I believe he was from your area. Tracy Lee.
Right? Yeah. And he was from here, but he was hot for what he came out with. You know what I mean? Right. He was hot for, and then it was nothing after that. You know what I mean? Right. They had their time to shine. They 3 times dope. You know what I mean? People like that. They all, you had your time to shine. And when you, whatchamacallit, EST made more money writing for Beyonce than he did, as an artist with 3 times dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's another man. And I was a big Steady B fan growing up.
Yeah.
I love the Hilltop Hustlers.
Right. Up them Hilltop Hustlers. Yeah, Hems, Cool C. They had something.
Now let me tell you something. Me and Taj, when we did the Philly show, I like Cool C. I like Life in the Ghetto. I think that's a classic. But tell me you wouldn't have thought that was MC Shan if you didn't take a look at it. Did he or did he not? Him and Shan sounded almost.
I said it before. I said it last show, and I mean, when we did that show, I said it to several people since then. I'm gonna say it again. That's why I never respected Cool C. He has some hits, but I don't like biting, bro. It's just in my blood. I don't like that shit.
Do you think so? I mean, I don't know the inside scoop. Maybe you know from me. Was he influenced by Shan? Did he?
I don't think so, though. I think that was his voice. I think that was him being.
That was his voice. But the style, like he copied everything Shan did, bro.
You
could write something with the same kind of voice.
Because I'm angry.
Something should be different. Yeah. Something should be different somewhere. Yeah. And in fact, you want a label that actually got Shan started. Come on, man. There's no such thing as coincidences.
Mm-hmm. Now go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's not a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? Like it to me, it's a fact. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there in the room, but I'm gonna tell you, like, it's if it fucking walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah, I was always curious because I'm not gonna front. When first time I heard Cool C rap, first Cool C song I heard, I thought it was MC Shan. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh shit, Shan came out with some new shit. And then I was like, yo, I didn't know it was this cat out of Philly named Cool C. But the dude I would have really liked to see, because he never got a chance to transition into that next era. I would love to see how Steady B would transition as an artist. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But he was stuck in that, late 80s where it was just getting ready to transition. He had some of them old school Schooly D sounding tracks.
Yeah. But they even remember, even when Sirius came out, you know what I mean, and they turned around and threw KRS-One up on the track with him.
Yeah, I remember.
You know what I mean? Like
I would love to hear I would love to hear Karis One tell the story of how he ended up on the track with Steady B,
Me
knowing
too.
that the money for Juice Crew came from Philly, from the same people.
That's interesting.
Because at that point, the switch over to being on Jive Records. You know what I mean? You got to remember at that time, that's when he switched over to Jive.
That's right.
Exactly. So that was one of them label mate type things. Like,
that's right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that's all it was. Yep.
Yeah. So he ain't going. He's not going to bite off his nose despite his face. All right, I got it.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good point. All right. So again, we're gonna be shifting here and there because it's just the nature of what we're talking about. So now let's go over to Helter Skelter now. So we had Smith and Wesson. So we had Black Moon, who obviously started the whole OGC movement. You know, we had Smith and Wesson, The Shine. They came out with a couple albums. I believe they had 3, if I'm not mistaken. The other 2, I thought the second one with Smith and Wesson wasn't bad, but then again, like we talked about, they kind of faded a bit into oblivion. But then you had Helter Skelter come right behind them, and then obviously out of that group, a legend is born, right? Sean P.
Was an alien.
Yeah, Sean Price, Rock. Now, I think Rock Ness Monster, as I said before, he was the victim to a degree. I think he gets overshadowed in the group by Sean P. Obviously, he doesn't have the body work. And the biggest thing with Rock Ness, till recently, he never really put out any individual shit on any type of level.
Yeah.
Till recently.
Yeah.
So now we had the Helter Skelter album, and man, fire. What's your thoughts on that first Helter Skelter album?
Go ahead, Des, you got it.
I mean, to me, we were buying hip hop. We were purchasing hip hop. So it's like right along with everything else, it was in the category of what we already knew. We knew if we was purchasing that, we was getting our money's worth.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think like when we look at, like you say, what individuals, a group like that we was gonna fall victim to anything different than anything else. It's right. Like they like buying anything a Griselda project. You already know, regardless of who it is, off of their camp, you already know the production gonna be on point and the MC's gonna be on point. And I think Skelter, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? We knew what we was getting into. The vibe was still there. It wasn't really no different.
No.
You know what I mean? That realm was still within the same realm.
Yeah, it had the OGC sound to it. Mm-hmm. You know, had the production there, the flow.
Yeah.
Now, no, I will say this though. Probably out of all the clicks, I don't. Now, all right, you can say with Smith and Wesson, it did have it was unique in itself, but there was a synchronization with the Black Moon sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
I think though, Helter Skelter, I think Rock Ness and Sean
it's a different monster. Yeah. They reinvented that. They reinvented the boot camp sound.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because like you said, you got.
I believe that was the name of the first album, right? Many Faces, I believe it was.
The Caliber MCs.
Yeah,
but I also think that Helter Skelter suppressed. Sean P couldn't be Sean P without being himself, obviously.
100%.
You know what I mean? But within the Helter Skelter thing, I think as a team, it was right on. It was level. It was perfect. You got you know what I mean. You got the 2 different caliber MCs who both can hold their own. You know what I mean? Right. It's you know it's the reverse red meth.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean? Because you know. Individually, you know, something different, but together on point. You know what I mean? I just think they were outstanding together, but I don't think, you know, that's my only thing with them was with them right there. I can't complain. You got the best of boot camp. You know what I mean? When it came to multiple MCs, if it came to multiple MCs within boot camp clique, Helter Skelter was the best that they had.
Right.
No doubt.
Definitely. Now, it's funny we bring this up too, even with Rock Ness Monster and Sean P. when you guys get a chance, listen to the album. Now, it's not technically a solo. He did it with Just Lux, whatever his name is. I think Rock Ness needs to do a full joint. He's got a podcast on YouTube too. I think he needs to do a whole joint by himself, because when I listen to the album, like I said, when you guys listening to it, love the production. I just think Russ Jukes, whatever, I can never get his name right.
Rusty Jukes. Mm-hmm.
Rusty Jukes. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I call him Russ Jukes all the time. I think he holds him back on some tracks.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like the way Rusty Jukes combines with Rock Ness on some tracks. It's just me. Maybe some people might have a difference of opinion. I think Rock Ness can do a soul because of his flow and his uniqueness in his voice. Like there's some MCs, it's easy to distinguish them from other MCs just by their voice. Cam obviously being one of them.
Yeah.
He's a KRS-One. Rock Ness, you can't confuse Rock Ness with anybody. If you know him, you know that it's Rock Ness. And if you don't know him, you're just going to be like, I don't even know who that is because he don't sound like anybody. But I think Rock Ness, I would love to see how he carries a whole solo project by himself.
Yeah.
I mean, Rusty, the thing that bothers me about Rusty Jukes, I get it. It's the hyped up flow. It almost sounds too planned to me. Like I don't know.
Yeah. And he's one of the MCs that I thought that was in there to me that was okay. I get it.
Don't it sound like it almost sound like he's stuck in the 90s as like the crazy hype man from back in the 90s.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly.
Like that's the vibe I got listening to the album.
Exactly.
Now there's a couple of tracks on there where he tones down that yelling type of hype flow that he sounds, in my opinion, a little better. I mean, some cats like that. I feel like I'm listening to Rock Ness flow. The production is on point. It's got that feel from back then, but more up to date to speed in 2024. So when I'm getting into it and I'm listening to Rock Ness Monster Flow, and then he'll come in and do his bars, it just throw me the fuck off. I'm like, I'm feeling the track, and then I feel like I'm in 2024, but somebody sucked me back, took me back quick, not to a place I really care for, because that was never my thing. That style, that just wasn't my thing. Man.
Yeah. It was like you said. It was probably one of them. Yo, you want to do an album together? All right.
Yeah, that's why I mean, I love the title, Crownsville, Crown Heights, Brooklyn. And they rapping about. And, they dropped some jewels on there, guard body jewels on there. You got to catch. I love the content. I think all I'm saying is this. I think it would have been a better solo album if Rock Ness just did that shit by himself.
No doubt.
I would love to hear a full Rock Ness Monster joint by himself.
Yeah, I always love his style and his voice and his flow.
Well, anyway, I won't say that he does have, but he does have album by himself. Let me rephrase what I said. I would love to see
a newer version, another version. I got you.
Yeah, like with those tracks is what I'm trying to say.
I got you.
Okay.
I would love, but man, you know what he did? He did you got to hear the track. He redid the You a Customer beat that EPMD did.
Oh shit.
Okay.
I want you to hear it, but he added some stuff to it, kept the core of that, how he sampled it, but he fucked that beat up, man. He fucked that beat up. And that's what I love that beat, but he fucked that beat up. He redid it. Put some other sounds over it, but you can still hear the core, the core sample of that track running through it. It was off the chain. But anyway, all right, so we have Helter Skelter, and then obviously this one, you hit it on the head. If Sean P doesn't emerge and go solo, we probably don't ever see. So we have Monkey Bars in 2005. Classic. Jesus Price Superstar, Mike Tyson, and then Imperious Rex. Right? See, what I see this, and now this is the meat of what I wanted to get to on the show. It showed me when Sean P went solo, it almost was like, MF Doom from KMD, that was a little different story of how his character emerged. But I think Sean P, obviously, because he was down with the crew, he had to be a part of that whole, what we know is that OGC, Black Moon sound. But who Sean P really was, you started to see on these 4 albums, right? He went a totally different route. Right? Production, rhyme flow, style. I mean, he was able to change it up. The stuff he was rhyming about, I mean, on some next level shit. He's classified as underground. I don't even know what that is anymore, to be honest with you.
Really?
You classify him as an alien.
Yes.
You got MCs like him. You got Pharaoh Monch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, there's a few MCs out there where you go.
There's no classification.
Don't get me started on
Pharaoh. There's no classification.
Exactly. Sure. I was able to see so when he dropped Monkey Bars, he toured with KRS-One.
Right.
Yeah, and I got a chance to see that whole album performed live.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, that was something different.
Now, unfortunately, well, let's acknowledge, obviously, rest in peace to Sean P. Right. Obviously, we still don't know. We know he had some health issues. There's no really official cause of death. So another pioneer we lose early, which we don't know what he could have metamorphosized into. It's crazy.
If I could touch on that real quick, same thing. If I could touch on that real quick. Rock Ness said that, I think he said they met when he was like 7 or 8. And so he had known them for a long time. And he said he was like 11 years old with a job. This is how long he knew him. He said Sean Price was. So so he got the call that he had passed away in his sleep and shot over to his crib. And he actually saw him in the bed, right? He said that his legs were in the shape of a letter P.
I didn't even know that.
That's crazy.
That's off the chain crazy.
Wild thing is he's still dropping songs. Still to the day, it's still a new Sean Price song coming out.
Well, listen, Sean Price said that
he recorded every day, right?
He said in an interview from 2000, he was recording those albums from 2001 through that time that he was with Boot Camp, and then after he split. So that's why there's so much music.
Yeah.
But it's like you said earlier, this one, how many songs that these guys recorded that never made it to records or that we don't know about, right?
Exactly.
That's why we keep seeing material. And then nowadays with all the technology and the equipment, you got cats taking tracks they did and they could lay it over other stuff and comes out of something new.
The Price of Fame album.
Yeah, the Price of Fame album.
Yep. You know what I mean? You know, like I know, I really doubted that was recorded while he was alive.
I said the same thing.
You know?
Yep. But we see. I mean, this is one thing with Sean P. This is what makes hip hop to me real hip hop. This is uniqueness in its truest form. MF Doom too. He's a very abstract artist. Like this type of hip hop, I think, is only for like real hip hop head. You got to be a real hip hop head. I mean, you could appreciate the music if you just love music, but I believe like this type of music is made for that real hip hop head who's into the culture,
the culture. Yep.
Right. Fact.
Yeah, because it's on some next level shit, right?
Exactly.
It's you can't really, like you say, Alias is the best category to put him in, because I mean, he just blow your mind with some of the shit.
Yeah.
That was put out, like you just shake your head, like, wow, some next level shit here.
Right.
Hey, Baniti, I'm gonna give you an analogy, right? Only because I was just telling this about this argument. It was a one-sided argument with one of my coworkers who claims to be into hip hop, right? But it's like a person who loves to take showers, right? He can't explain to you how the water gets there because he's not. So he's arguing with the plumber about how the water gets there because he loves taking showers. Like you got to be in the hip hop like that plumber. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Not the person who's just like, Oh, this water's nice. This is warm or cold, whatever the fuck you like. You know what I mean? The plumber knows how the pipes are ran, what type of fucking metal they made out of, or PVC, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how we understand this culture. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have the love we have for the culture. You know what I'm saying?
That's an excellent point. That's a good analogy, good way to look at it. And again, we get somebody taken from us, in my opinion, obviously. Man, way too early. MF Doom gets taken from us, probably way too early. That's a mystery too. Always still no clarity on what happened there. Now, MF Doom, real quick on a note on that, KMD, actually, they're from Long Beach, New York, Long Beach, Long Island. Knew them actually very well.
Okay.
And he never got over his brother passing.
Okay.
That put him into, that's how he became the character MF Doom. Now, how my connection with them was, if you remember the Peach Fuzz video that KMD did, right? They were part 2 of, at that time, the whole Answer Rule Law community, Dr. York movement. That was actually filmed not far from where the community was, and that's how I became acquainted with them. Tragedy, aka Intelligent Hoodlum. All of them, even Buckshot for a short period of time was part of that community in Brooklyn. Never ever met Buckshot or ran into him, but MF Doom, KMD, Tragedy, aka Intelligent Hoodlum, they all were part of that. And actually, the brother you see in the beginning wearing the all white with the Muslim kufi, his name is Yassar. The one he comes in the beginning of the video, he comes and says, "I want you guys talking and messing with the girls." That's the brother that gave me my Muslim Shahada back in 1989.
Wow.
Yep. They had a store on Parsons and 179th in Jamaica, Queens. I did my Muslim Shahada right there out where the Jamaica bus terminal was. Him and another brother named Bashar. His name is Yassar, the brother that you see in the beginning of that video. He was actually one of my teachers when I had converted to Islam at the time. So he was like a mentor. He actually right now is up in the Bronx. He was part of, which I don't know if you guys ever heard of, the infamous gun runners crew out of the Bronx on 74th. They were running guns from like New York to PA, Baltimore.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Anyway, he got shot up, permanent leg damage. You still see him once in a while, lives up in the Bronx, walking with a cane now. Whole nother story. But the dark skin, if you see the brother, and he was one of the dancers, the dark skinned brother with the nose ring, that was Doom's brother. He got hit by a car.
Wow.
It was an unfortunate accident. He got killed. And KMD, the group.
Yeah.
Doom.
It wasn't Zeph Love X though, was it?
Yeah, it was Zeph. Yeah, Zeph Love
Yeah,
X.
it was Zeph, right?
Yeah. It was Zeph Love X and KMD, correct.
Yep.
So he changed. He went from, yeah.
Okay. Now you bring up Dr. Malachi, huh? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
My whole history, I was with that.
Same here.
20 years. I was actually working on his case until I uncovered a lot of shit back in. I left that alone in 2010, going into 2011.
Okay.
Is when I stepped off. We talk about that another time, but
that might have been the time that I transitioned from a lot of his stuff around then.
Yeah, well, it's just I was a supporter for many years. I literally left high school and went right into that movement.
Okay,
so I was a part of that movement from like '88 till about 2010. And I was actually not just a regular member. I was closely affiliated with him, part of his inner circle for many years until I just uncovered some shit I couldn't support anymore.
No doubt.
With the babies and the children. So
okay,
my stance on it now is like, look, on that, I do believe at first he had good intentions. I do believe he was trying to build a community and do something productive. But I think what happens sometimes when people get a hold of money and too much power, sometimes it unlocks bad aspects of themselves, is the best way I can describe it. And I just think
Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard.
Well, yeah, good point.
Right,
Good point.
right,
Yeah,
right,
Dianetic.
right,
Right.
Ain't that what we knew about? Ain't that what we knew him by?
Yep.
We knew L. Ron Hubbard by Dianetics, and the next thing you know,
Church of Scientology. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You know, I was a supporter for years, but I will say from what I uncovered, I would have to say the man is guilty now. Now, I don't go there on smear campaigns. If somebody
No
asks
doubt.
me, I'm just honest, because I'm not saying that he didn't do anything productive, but that doesn't give anybody a pass for harming innocent children. That's just my
No
point.
doubt. Amen.
That's it. Not gonna really get too much into it, but yes, I was part of that for years. I started out in the anti-rule law community in 1988. Left. Well, I started out with the 5% Nation of Gods and Earth, and then I came across the anti-rule law doctrine. I would see the brothers in white in all the boroughs. I would see York's poster all on Jamaica Avenue, and I was like, who are these guys, you know? And then I just happened to walk in. They had a bookstore. We used to call it the Tensakeedar. That was the name of the bookstores they had. They had one in Philly. I spent some time in the Philly community on Market.
I was down there.
Oh yeah. I used to actually in '92. I was in the Philly community for 6 months. I used to West 52nd and Market. I used to set up a table right there in the corner until some Sunni Muslims stepped to us and almost killed us because they control that whole area. And didn't realize it was right in the corner. I don't know. I'm going years back. There was a Woolworth there, a 5 and dime on the corner.
That's
West 52nd and Market Street. The community was on West 52nd Street. The Philadelphia
Sister Claire Muhammad's area.
Yeah, they had a pizza store, restaurant. They had a bookstore, and then they had all those buildings over there. So it was almost the Philly community was like a replica of the New York Brooklyn community. So York sent me there in '92 because at that time there was a different change in the movement. So they had made like a what they called the Disciples Masjid for couples and singles. And long story short, that's all politics and bullshit.
Yeah, I think that was around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spent a little time there in 92, 93. That was my first introduction to Philly. First time I was ever there. To me, it was just like a little New York. It wasn't much different. Same shit.
Pretty much.
But we used to hustle and walk under the trestles over there. We used to hit all the bars. We used to walk in there with the incense and the oils, you know, and just walk in and, you know, we used to call it the bar route because that was a big thing. I just remember going under the trestle there where the train ran there on 52nd and Market. We walked that whole
under the L. Yep.
Under the L.
We call it the L train. Yeah, that's the L train.
That's where we hustled. It's crazy. But I don't even know how we got to that point. How did this come up? I lost.
Right.
You was talking about KMD.
KMD, exactly.
KMD, yeah. The young, slim, dark-skinned brother with the nose ring. That was MF Doom's brother. He was a dancer in the group, and he tragically unfortunately got hit by a car and didn't survive, man. So, and then he really went into a dark place after that. He disappeared off the scene for a little bit.
Yep.
And then he emerged with that MF Doom character.
Emerged with MF Doom. Yep. Yeah, I remember Zev Love X. Yep.
Yeah, well,
they came out. They came out underneath the third base around
third base. He did that. That was shit. Gas Face. That ball he did on Gas Face was off the chain, man.
Yes. Yep. You know, back to one thing that I told Taz early. I don't know if you know. As far as boot camp click, you know that they were supposed to be Death Row East.
Didn't know that. To be honest with you, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because Buckshot and Pac were like the best of friends. And and Pac was supposed to start the whole Death Row East over here, and the main artists they actually had if you probably research a lot of boot camp stuff, you'll see at one point that they were even repping the Death Row East sign. You know what I mean? Like they were anti big, you know, for a while and certain things like that. Like, you know, they didn't fuck with whoever Pac didn't mess with, they didn't mess with for a while.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was a real big thing for a minute, up until the point of when Pac died. Then it was like that whole Death Row Eastern just completely drifted right out of picture.
Now it's funny you say that. I wonder if that had anything to do with them kind of fading, because to me, knowing that at that time, and OGC being big in Brooklyn, to me that would be career suicide to take that stance.
How about it? And I thought the same thing. I'm
Like,
your affiliation and your love for whoever this is, that's one thing, but that's New York suicide. That's
right.
East Coast suicide.
And then you have Ready to Die came out shortly after. I mean, Biggie blew up instantly. And it was just like, I don't know. I mean, didn't know that. That's what you just broke down. That's
yeah. Do the math on that one.
Now you got me thinking. I wonder, behind the scenes, the powers that be. Now you got to remember at that time, despite him being a fucking nutbag now, but you had Diddy had a lot of influence and power. I'm trying to think
a lot of power.
Who at that time could have hushed them? You know what I mean?
That's what, and he would probably have been the one. And I think that might have also been the reason why Sean Price separated himself and became a whole new entity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Himself.
Yeah, and rebranded himself because he had no affiliation with that. Like, even when he came out, it really wasn't. It was no longer a boot camp sound.
No, not at all. And it's crazy. The new fans he amassed when he started. Do you know his newer group of fans? Not dudes like us who know the history. They didn't even know he was a part of.
They didn't even know. That's what was crazy. And that's what I'm saying. Because even when I the show he did with Chris, it was they wasn't screaming boot camp click. They were screaming Sean P. You know what I mean? So they didn't even affiliate the two together. You know what I mean?
I think it was 2013 or 14. I saw him perform in New York, and I remember there. Like I say, he garnered a newer, younger generation of fans when he came out.
Younger generation,
right? There was us who know his history from his beginning. You had the older heads who know who Sean P is going back to OGC. But I remember standing next to a young cat, just striking up a conversation with him. And the reason why I'm saying what I just said a minute ago, I said to him, I said, you ever listen to any of his stuff that when he was with Helter, Skelter, and OGC? He didn't even know who OGC was.
Exactly.
Black Moon and none of that.
Not at all.
I say that because he literally rebranded himself.
Yep.
If you think about it, I think there is that clear intent where he wanted to separate. Not that he was trying to diss OGC or nothing, but I knew I think he knew he had to rebrand himself.
And I really think it's because of their affiliation with Pac at that time. I think exactly. It was like, he ain't got no problem with New York. You know what I mean? So it's funny.
With that said, I was telling you, Benny, now that I recently was telling this, in 06, right after Pac died, they had the How Can I Be Down convention in Miami. That was my first and last time in Miami, and it was right after Pac died, and I was curious to see how that was going to play out. And Little Kim's tour bus was down there. They were promoting her first album. Shock G's people were there, and we actually, I was with a DJ from they used to DJ from with Uncle Luke. He had some of his artists down there, and so we run into some people from Aftermath, and Dre had just started Aftermath, and they give us all Aftermath shirts. So we were supposed to meet somebody, some industry person at this hotel. We go in the hotel, we knock on the door, nobody answers. So my boy was like, just wait here, I'm gonna go check on something else. So it's about six of us chilling in the hallway. Who walks up but Helter, Skelter, and OGC? And they looking for the same board. So we start busting it up. They was cool as shit, right? I mean, and I believe it was Sean P. It was Sean P. and Rockness and you know, a little they roadies and stuff like that. But it's weird that y'all put this piece in there about the timing of the whole thing with Pac and Death Row East, because I don't know, it's just, to me, it's weird. Like,
And Tasha, that
all
was a
these people,
dangerous time right after Pac passed away, going down to
yeah,
that. I mean,
for real.
yeah.
that was
It was
dangerous
less.
time.
It was literally less. It was less than a month, I believe.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, because that's two situations. First of all, you East Coast brothers going down there, that's one. And then you went in the aftermath.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Like, yeah, dude.
That's
That's
trying to be repping Dre.
But it wasn't. It wasn't no. I think it was one thing. They had shut one thing down for some little scraps or something like that. But for the most part, it was cool. I mean, Wu was down there. J. Rue the Damager was down there. Obviously, I didn't see Diddy, but Diddy was down there. Latifah was down there. You know, it was a lot of East Coast people there. It was just, you know, it was just a weird vibe, though. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I think right before they that, what year was it that the that boot camp referred to themselves as Decepticons?
Oh man, that comes a little later.
Yeah, that was like the what was it called? That album called
was that 97-ish?
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Around there.
Yeah.
All right. So that's when I guess even then, I guess that was that like a reinvention or trying to because to be a Decepticon is a dark side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could be a reinvention to shift away from maybe they realized I'm gonna say around that time, because maybe when they took that stance at first, you know, maybe that could have been, maybe they were encoding it under that. Who knows? This is all speculation, right? We can't prove it, but it is an interesting thing, and it's got me. It does, in my opinion, put pieces of some puzzles together. Just
okay.
You know, that's just my personal opinion.
No doubt.
And I want to be clear for the record, because I don't want nobody to come across this and think that we're just making shit up. This is all just theorizing. I just want to put that out there. We are not saying that we can substantiate this 100%. I want to put that on record, because you know how motherfuckers will come across shit. Oh man, I saw these cats. They were saying, they were saying, and then before you know that, our story gets turned into something that we didn't even say.
Absolutely.
So I just want to put it on record. We're just, we're putting some theories together, some that could be possibilities, and on the record, we are not saying we have 100% facts to substantiate any of this, but it is an interesting discussion. And it does, in my opinion, it fills the gap in certain holes. Because again, I don't know why I popped them up. We go back to the beginning of the show. Why they just it doesn't make sense that they just faded, never really. To me, everything was there in alignment for them. I know it was a tough era because things were transitioning. The money game was still not where it was at, and I get all that. But you look at a crew like Wu-Tang that stuck it out, because Wu-Tang, when they first came on the scene, I don't even know how them cats ate. So they had to be running the streets. We know they were, because they talked about it in their documents. They still were selling, slinging them things, because there's no way you could have all those cats in your crew and everybody's eating.
Exactly.
They wasn't making no money like that.
No. So,
but they stayed together and they were able to weather the storm. And then as the industry, obviously on a financial level, grew and evolved, man, we saw what emergence, how many of them became solo artists, etc.
Right.
But I didn't know any of that, and that's interesting. That to me, that could be part of the reason, which was maybe how they quietly just kind of went into a demise. And now, as we're talking about Sean P, right? He basically rebranded himself. If you don't know who he was from OGC, you would never know he was a member of OGC.
How about it?
Right.
Yep.
So that's interesting. That's interesting. But any other thoughts on any of his other work or his albums? I mean, we could kind of shift into summing it up, maybe taking some questions, or if there's anything else you guys want to add. I mean, I'll just say this with Sean P and OGC. Remember, this show is about knowingly and unknowingly what artists, MCs, and groups definitely have impacted hip hop and the culture. And I 100% put OGC, Black Moon, Helter Skelter, Smith and Wesson, Sean. I put them in that category. They definitely have established a legacy, and that was the point of doing this show, right? Because we want to showcase, or we want to do shows, geared on art. Because mainstream, we ain't going to get that no more. So the goal of this show is we try to do shows that feature artists that have impacted the culture, that have left. To me, the difference when I say that, they've left a stamp personally that'll be there forever.
No doubt.
That's what I mean when I'm saying that, right? And to me, they fall in that category. It might be some people who have a difference of opinion with that. I do think you do have to know who OGC is, Black Moon. I think you have to be a hip hop head that obviously goes back to that period to a degree. So that's kind of where we're at. So shout out and rest in peace to Sean P, aka Sean Price. Again, props to Black Moon, Buckshot, all the members of OGC. And I give them thanks and gratitude for what they've contributed to the music.
No doubt.
And the enjoyment that I've gotten out of it. So I don't know what you brothers want to add to that.
No, same here. You know what I mean? Like, even for the fact of, on the next level things to the Buckshot Ninth Wonder album, to the Buckshot KRS-One album. You know what I mean? Like, they made sure, so it expanded. It definitely expanded. It's just it didn't expand and grow. It expanded, so it's there. Hip hop is still alive. You know what I mean? It's always here. It's just it's like.
And one of my favorite tracks we didn't bring up with Buckshot. It's one of my favorite beats, favorite tracks, the Crooklyn Dodgers, man.
Oh my God!
How about
it?
Special Ed and Buckshot.
Sure.
I would have loved to see them three do a whole album together.
Oh yeah,
do a whole album together.
A whole album. Right? I thought it was going to happen when that man. And they should have called themselves the Crooklyn Dodgers.
The Crooklyn Dodgers. They should have. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought they didn't capitalize on. I know they did the track for the Spike Lee movie, but I thought they were going to capitalize on that shit at the time when it came out. Man, they should have came out with a whole Crooklyn Dodgers album. That shit. And the time was right for it at that time.
The time was right. Yep.
Yeah. That would have been
I
don't know what happened with that. I thought they was going to come out with some shit.
Yeah, I did too.
We can't forget the Crooklyn Dodgers, man. That'd
been dope.
Oh my God. You crack that shit on the system?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That beat is just
crazy.
Yes, it is.
Bananas.
Yes, it is.
Special Ed's still around doing some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's still around.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, anyway. Anybody, if you just finish with the anything else on Sean P, man. I didn't want to interrupt that, but
I did want to add. You were talking about Cypress Hill earlier. Cypress Hill, like we talked about before, was signed to Rough House Records, which is in Philly. After Rough House Records, they ended up on Buckdown Records with OGC.
Right.
So just a little fun fact.
Let me ask you a question. With Cypress Hill, right? I'm trying to think of. So what was their first record label again?
Rough House.
Rough House.
Same one that the Fugees was on.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure. Yeah. I mean, again, Cypress Hill had a unique sound. Wasn't huge on them. I mean, but that album in '92, that was blowing up.
Yes,
that shit was blowing up.
I personally love. I think it was the first two albums.
Yep,
They lost
exactly.
me
The first
up
two.
around the third. Yeah, they
The
lost
first
me up
two.
around the third one.
Cause that Jimi Hendrix flip on How I Could Just Kill a Man, you can't beat that.
Oh,
No,
it's
that was
crazy,
awesome.
crazy. And that Black Sunday album, I think that was dope.
Yeah. That was another jewel. Yep. That was another.
Now I remember when they first came out, right? I thought they were from Cypress Hill, Brooklyn.
Oh
wow.
Because there's a section. I mean, this is when I first, but then when I heard the flow, because there's a section in East New York called Cypress Hill.
Okay.
I actually stop on the J and the Z train. There's a whole section in Brooklyn, Cypress Hill. But then when I heard them, I was like, these cats don't sound like they're from Brooklyn.
No, yeah, they sound like they're from LA.
Be real with that voice, bro.
Yep, exactly.
But then they got big into the cannabis business. Be Real got
Dr. Green Thumb. Yep.
Yeah, he's got a whole
Yeah, I got a Funko Pop character of Dr. Green Thumb. Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think? Real, let's shift a little bit. What do you guys think? It's crazy because he's put out some bizarre, and I say this in a good way. He just released another album. He's probably got about 40 albums now. But I always thought Ultramagnetic MCs were ahead of their time.
Oh man, what? Talk about aliens.
Cool Keith said to you, "Ain't that something? I'm the best MC in the whole wide world."
Yeah, Critical Beatdown.
Yep.
Yeah, man. But him. Bro. He's on some next level.
Black Elvis, exactly.
Black Elvis.
Dr. Octagon, exactly. Yep.
He just came out with another album. I don't know if it was under one of the personas. It just popped up in my feed a few days ago. I got to go check it out.
If those MCs are aliens, Cool Keith is the captain of the
alias.
ship,
That's where I'm going with it.
Captain of the aliases. Yep.
He's definitely an alias. But that man, and that's another group I wish would have put out more work. But that Critical Beatdown ahead of
that Critical Beatdown.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
Yeah.
Right. The second album too was slept on. The 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Exactly. Because I think that's around that's when they started bringing Tim Dog into the fold.
Yeah, Tim Dog came into the fold. Yeah, he wanted to.
But from the production to the rhyme styles to the everything was just somewhere else. There was a whole nother dimension.
For real, because Keith was just something on his own, right? And here you go. If it wasn't no Said G, we probably wouldn't have heard no BDP.
Yeah, how about that?
You know what I mean?
How about that?
Real. I mean, those tracks, man.
Yep.
Like one thing they had me hooked. Critical Beatdown. I mean, one thing. See, I told you I love deep bass.
Mm-hmm.
So Critical Beatdown. They were able, like, my God, the way they incorporated the bass lines and the bass into their tracks. I mean, I would get hooked with the drums and the bass on all of those tracks. I mean,
without a doubt. I was DJing a lot of parties back then, so buying them Ultramagnetic 12-inch singles, boy.
And you know what? It had that grimy but clean sound to it.
But clean, exactly.
But they were able to capture the griminess of sampling, but it was crazy, man. It was, man. That's probably one of the all-time classic albums, all-time that goes. I mean, real hip hop heads know it's critically acclaimed, but man, it probably don't get the props that it should get, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Because it was ahead of its time.
Yes, exactly. Ahead of its time. That's a perfect way of putting that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's 1988. That album comes out.
Yeah.
88. Nobody was making beats like that in 1988.
Exactly.
And again, the lyrics.
Yep.
I'm better for some don't believe me though. But I'm a pro with hot material on your Walkman, boxer, any stereo, uno. Those not quattro. Spanish girls, they like to call me Pacho. Pattern. You fell off your brain and saw Saturn. What?
Man.
Who the fuck was saying that back then? Anything
right?
close to
Nobody.
That?
And then Said G had his own style.
He had his own style. Yep, on his own. Yep, exactly. Exactly. But I think my ultimate respect. Now I can't say my ultimate respect because I I had respect for them highly back then. But when Prince of Mos D's came out and Cool Keith did the remember, and damn, what was it? He had a little section in there about guns, about him selling the guns on the Prince Paul album.
Yep.
Right.
That whole little scene that he did was incredible. Like it was just to hear him break down what he was selling on there, and it was the damn. That's Cool Keith is still Cool Keith. You know?
It's crazy you bring up Prince Paul, because you got to remember Critical Beatdown and then Stetson Sonic, they were out at the same time. Now Stetson Sonic, that first album came out in '87, but their second album was out the same time Critical Beatdown. I always referred to always used to refer to it that Ultramagnetic was like a futuristic Stetson Sonic.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Right.
Daddy-O,
Right.
right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true, B.
Right.
So nobody likes Stetson Sonic. Stetson was his
I always
thing.
They're not the same, but if you listen to some of, it's almost like
but it's like they were morphing to that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I look at Ultramagnetic as a futuristic Stetson Sonic.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like Stetson Sonic was his own thing, and then if Ultramagnetic, if they were to morph, they would be Ultramagnetic. That's exactly.
Right. Also, Daddy-O had that high pitch just like Keith did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and then who was the because I can hear the track in my head now talking all that jazz. Who was the deep baritone MC in Stetson Sonic?
Damn. I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta Rolodex all the names now.
Yeah, I can't. I see him in my head. He
because
like
he was the darkest. He was the dark skinned one with the with the box haircut. Yeah.
Yep. He sound like Said G.
Yep.
And I always wondered if there was any connection there. Hold on, it's gonna bother me if I don't get his name, man. Delight.
Yeah, MC Delight. Yeah.
MC Delight.
MC Delight. Yo, you know what track was slept on their second album? They did a remake of the Floaters, Float On. Remember the Floaters?
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah,
they did a version of that with Force MDs.
Yeah, I remember that. That's a barbecue song.
That shit hits.
Right.
Oh God, that shit hits, man.
Right. Yep.
It's like 9 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's like the Floaters track, because the Floaters.
That's what I'm saying. That's if you cooking outside and you cooking chicken at the barbecue, you throw that song on right there.
Right.
That's
sure.
Man.
Right.
Now me.
Sure.
I'm a Stetson Sonic fan. I mean, go Stetson. The first 2 albums were off the chain, man.
Definitely.
How about it?
Definitely.
How about it? Yep.
That was a classic. That was big. I don't know how it did regionally everywhere else, but that was huge back in '88, especially in New York. I remember.
And here in Philly, it was too. It was big here. Yep.
Yeah.
First hip hop band, remember?
Yeah. They had I'll never forget.
We lost your Taj. You went
wearing them troop sweatsuits.
The Troop. Oh, remember the Troop? British Knights.
Yeah.
BKs.
Yeah.
Straight-legged Lees. Gazelle.
Some BK.
I stopped fucking with BKs when MC Hammer started fucking promoting them.
Yeah, that's when I left him alone. That's when I left him alone too.
Yeah, man. All that shit. Gazelles, fucking sheepskin.
Gazelle. Yup. Sheepskin. Your fur Kangol hats.
Fur Kangol hats.
Leather bombers.
I'm sorry, y'all.
We lost you, bro. You were saying something.
Yeah. Somebody called, but so I'll never forget. We had the show in Philly in '88. I forget what it was called. It was Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince, Rakim and Eric B, Stetson Sonic.
You sure that was the Raising Hell tour?
Raising Hell. It was run. Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the first time I seen Stetsasonic perform. That's the first time I seen Rakim perform.
Yep.
Rakim came out on the stage. He had this huge black pyramid on the stage,
I
lit up
remember
in
that.
green, outlined in green, and all this
Yep.
fucking. I was just like, oh my god! And they had the laser lights and shit, bro. That was crazy. But Stetson didn't. I think Stetson had some lights, but their show was just so solid,
Listen,
bro. It was just incredible.
in my opinion, growing up, because I saw that show at Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island, and then I saw it at Madison Square Garden in Manhattan. To me, growing up, as far as that era, that was the best tour show I ever seen growing up. Ever. I mean, it was Run DMC, they headlined it. It was their tour, Raising Hell. EPMD was on that tour too.
That was the other group I was going to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was EPMD, Stetsasonic, Public Enemy, Rakim. I mean, legendary shit. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And the show, because they used to have DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. They used to have that Puerto Rican girl that was dancing for them and the dude.
Right.
And the show, let me tell you something, and I've said this before, and I know you guys know this. I ain't telling you guys anything because you're from Philly. Jazzy Jeff was one of the best live DJ performers.
Oh, of course. Still is.
Let me tell you something. The show that he put on, I mean, they had a whole section that devoted to their set. They'd give him about 8 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
And he did shit. I mean, he was doing shit back then before the whole DJing thing became.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was doing it, but he was the one, I think, in my opinion.
He held that crown.
Yeah.
He held that crown. Yep.
Yeah, he held it down.
We talked about this before, Baniti. It was back and forth in Philly about the crown holders was Cash Money and Jazzy Jeff, and then later came DJ Miz. Say it again.
Yeah, Marvelous. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Cash Money, Marvelous. Yeah. The two top tiered bulls for a minute was Jazzy Jeff and Cash Money, and everybody had they side of who they thought the best DJ was. But yeah, incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I told you, I was that cat in New York at that time. I was big on a lot of Philly artists. I used to love. There was so many artists out. They were getting some recognition in New York, but I mean, I was that dude cranking. I mean, all of them artists. I mean, any of them you can name. 3 Times Dope, Tough. Nobody knew who Tough Crew was in my area. I was cranking that shit when Danger Zone came out. I was cranking that shit every fucking day till I had the tape to the fucking cassette pop. I mean,
no doubt,
man. I mean, because remember, Tough Crew, they were on Warlock Records out of New York in their first album, Lick the Balls. That was on Warlock Records, that single. And then I don't know what happened after that. Obviously, they went to another label. But, I mean, you had them, obviously DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, 3 Times Dope, Hilltop Hustlers, Schoolie D. Schoolie D. He did get a lot of, PSK was big. They used to play that on the Rap Attack. Magic, Mr. Magic Marl.
Remember they call him the Godfather of gangster rap.
Godfather, yeah. He was doing gangster rap before anybody knew what gangster rap was.
Yep.
You know, even Ice-T said that's where he got it from.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
And if I'm not mistaken, something I just saw, I got to look it up. I think Bahamadia just put something out, believe it or not.
Oh, what? Wow.
Yeah, Bahamadia. And I was telling Todd late last year, Tough Crew put an album out. I didn't even know that. In December of 23.
Okay.
I just listened to it. It's about 10 tracks. I didn't even know they came out with anything new. So it's good to see some of them Philly artists still around putting music out. And
no doubt.
Pick you sent that link to, Taja, man, that shit was off the chain.
Yeah, the girl, she's nuts, man. She's bananas.
What?
She
was flowing with that shit, man.
She's bananas. But I wanted to tell you, since you're talking about Tough Crew, my very first time in a real studio, my boy was cool with them, and we were using the same studio, and that's the first time I met them. But the name of the studio was Morning Star.
Get out of here!
I swear to God.
Wow. Coincidence?
Can't make it up. Can't make it up.
Can't make this shit up, right?
Yeah,
All right.
my brother-in-law and my wife was their dancers
Get who?
for Tough Crew.
Get out of here.
Yep,
The Dizzy D dancers?
yep,
DZD?
yep,
Danger
yeah,
Zone dancers.
yep.
But you remember that? That was the staple back then. You had to have a DJ and dancers back then. You had to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
Exactly.
like I say, the DJ almost is a lost art form for a lot of these groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You see these performances, but they usually got some generic DJ up there.
Yeah.
Doing these live performances. But remember back in the day, the DJ was a staple member of the crew.
First one out on stage.
Yep. Had an identity and everything.
Yep.
Now it's like, listen, man, on another note, I saw a couple nights ago, because I'm, watching my sport game. So I was able to flick back and forth a little bit on the channels to chime in a little bit at MTV Music Awards. Oh my God. Pure trash, man.
Yeah.
Pure.
I can only imagine.
I mean, I want to sound like the old grumpy head, but it's hard for me to hold back. I mean, the shit. Oh my God. I could be here it was just pure fucking garbage. The shit that they're recognizing as music it's fucking embarrassing.
Ridiculous.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's
the clip I saw L's performance was hot though.
Yeah. I peeked in. There was a set I caught. What's that chick that's kind of popular now?
Don't say Megan Thee Stallion.
Glorilla.
Okay.
I couldn't understand a fucking word she was saying. I needed the fucking bouncing ball with the words. I didn't understand a goddamn thing she was saying.
That's hilarious.
It was somebody else. Oh my God. You talk about super fucking whackness. So then I flipped back. It was towards the end, and Megan Thee Stallion's performing, and she brings out some Japanese dude rapping in Japanese. If you want to laugh your ass off, I thought dude had Down syndrome. Then I realized that's how he rapped. It was offbeat. It was awful. And even, let me tell you something. They flip. You'll see it if you go watch the performance. So they flip to the crowd. And they catch some. I don't know if she's a performer or entertainer, but they catch this girl in the crowd. And look at her facial expression when they catch her. Like she had that, what the fuck is this shit? Look on her face. I couldn't believe. I thought it was a joke at first. Like I thought because I had, when you're skipping channels, I kind of came in on the middle of it. So I'm thinking like, is this some type of fucking joke they playing around?
You thought it was a Doritos commercial?
Yeah. I thought it was a spoof or some shit. I didn't know what the fuck it was. So I'm watching this shit and I'm like, holy shit, this is like, dude, this is a real performance.
It's real.
It was fucking awful, man. It was fucking terrible, man.
That's why I don't watch these. That's why I don't watch the war shows.
I can't.
Nowadays, you can just go on social media and catch anything you miss that you want to see. You know what I mean? It's like cutting out the commercials.
100%. But let me do this. Oh, but on another note, I'm just gonna not a whole bunch in the chat. I'm gonna go through the chat, just some comments, some shout outs. We'll run through that real quick before we wrap it up. I think there's might be a couple questions in there. Man, on another note, to the sports world, it's time for Tua to hang it up, brother. He got to hang it up, man. He's gonna kill himself. I mean, did you see it? Did you watch it, Taza?
Yeah. I didn't watch it. I heard about it.
You saw the neurological response. It was almost like 2022. He was knocked out, and his arm and when he came up was doing its own thing. That boy gonna kill himself if he doesn't hang it up, man. 4 concussions in 5 years. Remember, last year in Alabama, he got a concussion.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's time to hang it up, man. That boy is gonna have CT with all that shit that you got to start thinking about. I mean, I love football. I mean, but that's the downside to the sport. It's a dangerous sport,
and it's proven that those brain injuries, people die from that later.
They're real. And this guy, you got to think at some point. You got to think about long term your health and your well being, bro. So see how that emerges.
No doubt.
But anyway, let's run through the chat. We're gonna wrap it up. Let's see what we got in here. I know just maybe some quick comments. There's not a whole bunch in here tonight. We read Wasted Talents. All right. This was earlier. Diego Singleton says Heavy D had the fire song "Don't Curse." Yeah, I remember that song. 20 rappers. Yeah, that was a little unique thing. Yeah, but like we said back then, I know. Like Benita, you sound like a back then dude. I am. I'm an OG old head. I am. I can't. It's just you can't compare the level of creativity and individuality and uniqueness from back then to today.
Right.
Like I can't tell any of these songs apart. I'm sorry. It all sound the same to me. They all sound like whiny, mumbling bitches. I mean, I'm sorry. If anybody, you don't need to be an old head or a new head to know that. But again, Heavy D was in that category. You can't confuse Heavy for anybody else. Oh, Saturn Hex asks, do this one. Yeah, this one has his, if you could put it in the link, does this one to try it in 72 have their own channels or sites? If you brothers do, put that in the comment box so that's archived.
Okay.
So if anybody can go to your platforms or reach out to you or contact you, definitely put that into the chat, and then that'll be archived. So when people go back and watch the show, they'll be able to. So yeah, we'll put that in there for you, Saturn Hex.
Okay.
Vega Monster says, glad I caught this, Beniti. Steve Nunez, dope show. Steve also saw Stretching Barbito show. Oh yeah. Stretching Barbito radio show and Pete Rock's Future Flavors Classic. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's another good thing to do a show on, maybe the mixtape game and maybe some shows like that were I mean, one thing I remember that my fondest memory of the Stretching Barbito show is when Jay-Z and goddamn, what's his name that passed away too soon? I'm drawing a blank, man.
Who, Big L?
Who?
Big L?
Big L. I'm sorry. I just drew a blank. That freestyle, because there's a lot of rumors that Jay-Z bit his style from Big L. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But do you remember when they came up into the Stretch and Barbito show and did that freestyle?
Yeah, because I heard that again not too long ago. They played it on something.
Man, and there's a track on Big L's album with Tupac that's off the chain, man. I think it's the second album. That's another track that goes under the radar that nobody talks about. And man, I gotta pull up the name of that shit. That's probably one of the best tracks on Big L's album that nobody talks about. But yeah, Stretch and Barbito show. I mean, maybe we should also look at what radio shows or things like that had an impact on hip hop culture. We haven't really done that like that, right? Sure, that could be something we can maybe look at. I think it's here, right here, second album. Hold on, I'm pulling up the track list. Deadly Combination. That was it. I think we lost this one. Looked like he got booted. Let's see if he gets back before we wrap it up. Deadly Combination. That was the name of the track.
Word. I'm just putting his stuff in the chat, so it's in there.
Oh, he's back. Hold on.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, you back. The song was Deadly Combination with Tupac.
Okay.
Yeah, that track is slept on. You talk about, and that track right there, I know technically Tupac had East Coast roots, but that was in his, he wasn't really rapping at the time. Tupac has an East Coast flow on that track. All right, what else we got here? But yeah, shout out to Stretch and Barbito. I agree. Lux Marie says, "What's up, brother Beniti? This is Alex checking in. First time peeping the hip hop show. All right, well, we appreciate you swinging by, all of us." Steve says, "Rumor has it, I don't know about this. Could be. I'll look into it. Marshall Mathers, Eminem is related to occultist McGregor Mathers, so they have the same name. They both look very similar. I'll have to look into that." And then the last one we got here is Dialysis Technicians USA. Just gives us the fire symbols. We appreciate that. Pretty much all I got. Anything you brothers want to add in closing? Final statements, and then we'll wrap this one up.
As far as me, as always, there are any occult, hip hop artists out there that want to submit music for any of the shows, Beniti's, emails in the ticker at the bottom. Just make sure you reach out, you know, and you know, get a chance to have your stuff showcased.
Yeah, Montu Mercury had commented on the post. I was trying to get him back. See if I could reach out to him. I know he's got some new stuff that he put out. I would like to get, obviously, we want to get newer people on, but I know he's got some newer stuff that came out. He had commented on the post. Still got his contact info. Yeah,
he's dope.
Yeah, so yeah, and I agree with Brother Taj. If anybody's got some, now again, it don't necessarily just have to be about the occult, but we're not showcasing. No offense, don't take it personal. We ain't showcasing no mumble crap, or if you rapping trap music, this is not the platform. To be honest with you. But if you just put out good hip hop music, it doesn't have to. You don't necessarily have to be rapping. All your material has to be occult lyrics. I mean, we do want to showcase people who study the occult, obviously, because there are some good occult artists out there that have put shit out, but they're just not going to get the airplay because it's one of those things where it's just not mainstream, and I get it. So that was one of the plans why we had on some of the earlier shows, we had showcase sections for those type of artists. We had quite a few on the early shows. So yeah, we need to get back to that and maybe do 15, 20-minute segment. Then we used to invite the artists to stay with us for the show and just join the build, which I thought was a cool thing. So yeah, let's go. We got to get back on there, Taj, to see what we could do.
Yeah, definitely.
And go from there. That's all I really got. This one. Any final thoughts? Any final words?
Keep hip hop alive. That's it.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, just so you know, this one will be a regular on the show as long as he's always to make it, unless he can't make it.
Definitely.
Yeah, so definitely appreciate now having him on board. It adds a different flavor to the show. So now we got 3 eyes and 3 sets of eyes and 3 sets of ears on it. So yeah, Taja, you reach out. We'll brainstorm whatever you want to come up with. I thought this was a good topic.
Definitely.
And then we can review that Rock Nest Monster album next show. Maybe something else. If something else on the board there you guys want to review, maybe is out there that deserves the review. And that's it, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody tuning in on Instagram. Appreciate everybody tuning in live on Facebook. I appreciate you guys tuning in here on YouTube. And then we'll do this again next month. We try to make sure we do this once a month. All right.
Absolutely.
Fertile blessings to everybody. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe. And like you guys say, man, keep hip hop alive.
Amen.
All right. Peace.
Peace.